484 miles of range. That's what this Mercedes CLA can do on a single charge, and that makes it the longest range EV that you can buy in the UK. It just about beats the larger and much more expensive EQS Mercedes, and in some places you can buy a Lucid Air, but this is not a £100,000 car with a massive battery. It costs £45,000 for the basic version, and sure, that's not cheap, but in the context of today, that's not too bad. And it's got just an 85 kilowatt hour battery to get those 484 miles of range. And that's because this car is all about efficiency. It's a brand new platform for Mercedes. It's 800 volts, so it can charge really quickly. It's all about aerodynamics. You can see it's very streamlined. It's 0.21 drag coefficient. It's got a 2-speed gearbox on the rear axle to make sure it remains efficient at motorway speeds. And it's got a new heat pump that harvests waste heat from the motors and the inverters. So it's a really impressive technical exercise. Let's see what it's like to drive. Before you go for a drive, let's take a look inside. Inside here, it's all new as well, although if you've been in a recent Mercedes, a lot of it will feel familiar. The steering wheel's the same as in another Mercedes, and the way the screen works is pretty familiar as well, even though behind all the screens, all the workings are brand new. Mercedes have a name for it. It's called MB.OS now, and it takes in a lot more AI stuff, as is the way for modern cars. So the navigation is now based on Google data, so it has much more accurate information about points of interest and traffic, and it uses ChatGPT and Gemini so you can ask it questions about chargers and restaurants and stuff like that. Most of this works pretty well. So you've got your main layer of the map, which has a nice satellite view, is pretty responsive, pretty clear. And you always have like the media tab here, and you've got your climate controls always on the bottom. I must say, this is a bit of a miss. As far as I can tell, there's no easy way to turn on the heated seats, because you have to go into a menu and then press a button and then go back, and that's not very good. Obviously, you can ask the AI, but I generally don't want to, because I'm usually listening to music. In the back, it's not massive. I can just about sit behind myself, but it's fairly tight. You've got this panoramic sunroof, which is standard. It doesn't open, but it does give you a bit more headroom. So yeah, I can just about sit in the back, and the boot is 400 litres just about, which is fine. It's not brilliant. If you need more space, you can have the shooting brake, which will launch later this year, and which will have a bit more boot space, and which just will be easier to access. Right, let's go for a drive. So efficiency is kind of this car's thing. It's what gives it the long range, and what supposedly makes it different from all the other new electric cars. So it's got to be good, right? If that isn't good, this car is basically pointless. And I have a bit of a caveat, because I'm in Denmark, where the speed limits are low and the fines are high, and it's perfect weather. It's nice and warm, nice and dry. So without all of that said, this car has been averaging 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and that's a very European metric unit. So let's use the car's other standout feature, which they're very proud of, to see what that is in miles per kilowatt hour. It's got this very fancy AI system, which draws from various different sources to answer you very normal questions. So, hey Mercedes.
Yes.
What is 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers in miles per kilowatt hour?
To convert 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers to miles per kilowatt hour, you can use the conversion factor, where 1 kilometer is approximately 0.621371 miles. This results in about 4.8 miles per kilowatt hour.
There we go. Very long-winded answer, but we got to 4.8 miles per kilowatt hour, which, that's pretty bloody brilliant, really. I don't know of any other sort of sensibly sized cars that can do that sort of thing. Right, so that's objective number one nailed. But it's no good being efficient if it's horrible to drive. So what's this car like to drive? Well, it makes silly noises, you can hear that, you can turn those off. Broadly, again, it's quite nice. It generally drives like a Mercedes. Even though this is the smallest Mercedes, it doesn't feel like a sort of entry-level model. Everything about it is quite gentle, very measured. So the steering isn't super heavy, it's medium weight, but it's got this really nice oily slick weight. It responds just the way you want. It's not, look, this is not a sports car, it's not even a sporty car. You don't especially get gobs of feel, but that's fine. There's a nice isolation to the ride, sort of all the kind of asperities, surface buzzes kind of get filtered away. It's not like Mercedes. Some people think Mercedes are these big cruise ships that just wipe away all the bumps. Most Mercedes have never done that, and this one doesn't either. You can feel the undulations, but it's all nicely controlled. Obviously a British country road will be different because those are evil. There's something very relaxing about this car. This electric one is rear-wheel drive. You can get a dual motor four-wheel drive one. Those will arrive in the UK a bit later. But fundamentally it's a rear-wheel drive car. Weirdly, the petrol engine one, when it comes, will be front-wheel drive. This one's rear-wheel drive. The steering is just nicely uncorrupted when you power through a corner. You can just feel yourself being pushed through the corner rather than pulled. Gives it a nice, again, calm balance. It just makes it quietly satisfying to drive, which is what you want from your mid-range Mercedes. Same calmness extends to the powertrain. There's enough punch to sort of get out of trouble. It's not a fast car, but it's fine. But everything just has a measured feel to it. You don't get that kind of hair trigger response of some Teslas. I like how the regen is managed, so there's no paddles behind the steering wheel. Instead, you push the gear selector stalk forwards and backwards to cycle through a couple of modes, and there's something for everyone, so you can dial it all the way back to a full coasting mode. You can have something in between. You can have a full one pedal mode, or you can have an adaptive mode. So that's really nicely managed. The brake pedal as well, that is always a bit of a problem with Mercedes, because they used to always have a lot of dead travel and you never knew really where you stand. This is, they call it a one box design. It's a sort of semi brake-by-wire system, but it works really well. It responds the way you think it might. The 800-volt system lets it rapid charge at up to 320 kilowatts, though early cars will only be able to use 800-volt charging stations, which rules out older units and Tesla superchargers. Mercedes says that there are enough 800-volt chargers for this not to be a problem, and the navigation software won't ever send you to an incompatible charger. A step-down converter that will allow the car to use 400-volt chargers will be offered as an option later on. Given the CLA's long range, it's unlikely to leave you stranded, but it is a weird choice for Mercedes to make electric driving that little bit more inconvenient. You know, I said this doesn't feel like the entry-level model, the small Mercedes, and that's true in the way it drives, in the ride, the handling, the feel of the controls. But it is weirdly obvious in this cabin. Now the driving position is fine. It's not super low, it's not super high. Some of the EQE models can be a bit weirdly high. This is fine. The seats are quite comfortable. Lots of adjustments, although some of them are in the screen, which I do not like that. Wheel comes nice and close to me. That's all very good. But this cabin does feel very, very narrow. And there's something about the closeness of all the extremities that just doesn't feel very Mercedes. I suppose it does feel A-class like. This new Mercedes CLA is an important car for Mercedes. It's supposed to put it back at the front of the pack for technology. And it sort of does that. I really love the efficiency thing. I love the idea of getting more out of a smaller battery. And it does that really, really well. And it's really nice to drive as well. Handles well, rides nicely, comfortable, easy to drive, soothing. Everything that a Mercedes really should be. Where it might struggle more is with desirability. Is it good looking enough? I don't think it is. Is this cabin good enough? The tech works really well, but just doesn't feel like a special, expensive place to be. I guess those things are a bit more subjective, so we'll see how it does. Technically, it's very strong. I really like it. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos about all sorts of cars, track tests, group tests, single car tests, features, make sure to subscribe to Autocar, and we'll see you next week.